I've only got the one good news story today, unfortunately, so that'll make this a very short segment. But from Sweden, through the British Patriot, we hear that Sweden has banned the word Islamophobia. The Swedish government has banned the term Islamophobia, calling it a manipulative concept that equates criticism of Islam with racism. Foreign Minister Maria Malmer Stenergaard is pushing the EU and UN to drop it too. Yeah, that's just great news. Yeah. Louis says it's a nonsense word, an oxymoron. No, it's not an oxymoron. An oxymoron is something like famous spy or military intelligence. Didger says, not too long, we'll be popping in and out for a bit. Aces, glad to have you. Let's see here. I reject Islam in the strongest possible terms. Majority Muslim countries fail, do poorly on health, technology, gender equality, education, innovation. Doesn't matter. You don't need to have Islamophobia when you can have Islamomizia, which is disgust at the idea of Islam, which is what I have. Sadiq Khan, Hamas are terrorists. End up. Yeah, funny he was talking to Jewish leaders when he said that. Yeah. Let's see. What about anti-Semitism? Who really runs Sweden? Is it Jews? Seriously? Okay, let's move on to my favorite newest segment. This will be good news and base Japan together, I guess. If you ever watched a lot of 80s Japanese stuff, that's actually pretty accurate. But Japan is absolutely one of the most based parts of Twitter these days. From Rutaso Sabu. Another shrine roof in Japan has been stripped of its copper. I didn't know this was a thing. This time in large quantities. The victim Koyasu Shrine in Kamimuguchi, Komatsu City. Because the copper plates were torn off, the main hall is now leaking when it rains. The local community leader, let me grab this, Yoshiaki Kawamoto, said, everyone in the community is devastated. This shrine is something we've all cherished for generations. Oops. Sorry. Shrines in Japan aren't just buildings. They've always been there. That's not true. Quietly protecting the land and watching over the people. That may be, to be fair, that may be a translation issue. And in return, locals have continued to offer their prayers. This is not just theft. This is the destruction of something deeply rooted in our culture. And this is one of the reasons why you'll hear me repeatedly say Japan's auto-translation is showing us that we're all fighting the same culture wars no matter where we are, in the West or in Japan. This is not just theft, this is the destruction of something deeply rooted in our culture. How many times is this going to happen? Seriously, enough is enough. There's a Tory that's I'm going to use the word gate, though I don't know if that's necessarily correct, but the temple then would be behind that. So, as I said, while this is not outright destructive, this is very reminiscent of the church burnings throughout the West. My advice would be to talk to any recyclers / metal dealers in the area and ask them to keep an eye out for this copper. Generally, theft and resale is the reason someone will grab copper, because copper is currently, I believe, rising in value again. And Canine Reaper TIA pointed out, like South Africa. Similar. And I said, it isn't just Japan and South Africa. Cultural institutions, especially religious ones, are being attacked and destroyed throughout the West as well. And I do apologize for the wording there. That's not to say South Africa isn't part of the West, though it is rapidly ceasing to be. Lord Liquid Swan said the perpetrators should be caught and punished severely, ideally publicly, so that statements are made. Similar groups to who causes problems in America, ideologically, if not culturally, yeah. Let's see. Can catch them easily by notifying pawn shops and metal scrapyards to look out for this stuff. Stop importing third world savages or handle them yourselves. They're invaders, not immigrants. Which Rutaso responds to with, the Japanese government won't tighten regulations. They're on the side of immigrants after all. They'll only do it once things get even worse and the public gets pissed off. The Japanese government is truly a gathering of incompetence. They're still insisting that immigrants aren't immigrants. I don't know exactly how that works, and that may be a translation issue as well. Copper theft is spread to Japan, huh? So when you find them, break their knuckles, put them in jail. They stole copper off the roof of a local church a few years back, set renovations back months. Yeah, they're cutting the legs off of power pylons in South Africa. There's that sub-70 IQ problem again. I was watching something, and it seems to me like it was South Africa they were talking about, where they said that 90% of the power infrastructure is just gone. It's just not functional. Because so many people are doing shit like this. Is it them again? It's always them. Well, there's a couple of different thems it could be. Here's the other them doing what them do. It's funny how some things are stereotypical and seems to be accurate. From Nyanchu, Tanpuku... I'm going to butcher this. Tanpuku no Kami. Japan is so safe you can leave your bike anywhere. Not anymore. Immigrants stealing bicycles is now a national conversation. What the fuck is going on here? They're literally loading a truck up with bikes. Whew. Immigrants again, seriously. Japan is so safe you can leave your Land Cruiser outside. Tell that to the guy in Gunma whose Land Cruiser ended up on a truck in Chiba this week. Yeah, 2 Afghans arrested. Yeah, immigrants my ass. They're using the word immigrant without any qualifier to avoid naming exactly who it is that is doing this. I get it. I totally get that. It was the same thing they did regarding the Asian grooming gangs in the UK. The vast majority of the offenders were from a singular country, yet naming that country was considered racism, or at least potential racism. The Nerdzerker asks, when will they all be deported? Don't we wish? Let's see. A Japanese is a Japanese is a Japanese. Justin Trudeau-san. Castro-san. Yes. Who are we? Immigrants from terrible places. Why are we here? We destroyed our own countries. What do we want? To wreck your country like we did ours. Yep. I do love the Japanese savagery when it comes to this. There's no chill, and there shouldn't be. From Kumashun, ISFJ Cute Bear. It's about time for Japanese people to turn into demons. If it's for the noble cause of protecting the future of Japanese people, then we need the resolve to lock down the country, leaving only Japanese people behind. Even if we're called inhumane, so what? Japanese people are going to become the minority, you know. I would imagine Japanese people are even more of a minority on the planet than, white people. We're at 8%. I imagine Japanese people are probably somewhere around 3, if that. What percentage of the world population is Japanese? Oof. It's less than half of it. As of 2026, the Japanese population represents approximately 1.485 to 1.85% of the world's total population. Roughly 124 million people is the current estimation for Japan's population. Wow. Let's reset it all to a blank slate. I'm sorry, hang on. If we're going to feel suffocated and out of place in our own country, then it's better to kick everyone out right here and now and be hated for it. Reset it all to a blank slate. Absolutely. There has never been a time in human history when immigration was used to overcome depopulation. It has always been the case that a country is depopulated through whatever means, whether it's low birth rate or it's casualties of war. And after that, there is a resurgence within a generation. It's the reason we had the baby boom. It's the reason, that after the Black Death had swept through places like Scotland and Ireland, and they weren't capable of importing massive numbers of immigrants, that these countries saw 3 to 4 times the average wage increase. That would be better for everyone. If you increase the average person's wage to the point that they believe they can afford to have multiple children, guess what? They'll have multiple children, and your tax base increases exponentially. Crazy thing, that, isn't it? We're about 10%, aren't we? I think we're more like 8. Didger says less than 2%. That could get them declared an endangered species. Time to break out the katanas. Let's see. This one's from Coco to Poppin. This text contains profound truths. I highly recommend reading it. Japanese political crooks' true aim. Yeah, we're going to leave that alone. Might be a little too spicy even for Rumble. My comment is, anyone who tells you defending yourself, your family, your community, or your people is wrong is either an enemy or an idiot who should be treated like one. That's not something I haven't said before. Defending your nation is not turning into demons. Ritsu is clearly not capable of understanding that translation. It's not always accurate. Okay, moving on to... A lot of Japanese people, this is from Hota Hota-sa. Yeah, that one I'm getting a bit more facile with. A lot of Japanese people say they won't accept burial, but you know, if Muslims say if Japan absolutely refuses burial, we'll leave, what would you do if they started saying that? I would tell them to fuck off home. Immediately. Yeah, I'd tell them they can fuck off home. If you don't like the culture you've moved to, fuck off back to one you do. Yeah. And I did post this. You don't have to turn into a demon to defend your country, but it sure helps. Yes. Yeah, it's amazing how memes translate completely. And I did say that, or Kumashun posted it, said, this pic is trending in Japan. I said, that's not good enough. Let's see if we can't make that global. And if you go over to my channel on X, my account on X, this is reposted with a request that we turn this into a global meme. Imagine being a race that is so bad for society that it is used as a key weapon of destabilization by your political enemies. Yep. Anti-Tenguists must be jailed and silenced. Yep, welcome to the party. Let's see. Tengu's head need to be expelled and sent to camps if they refuse. Oops. No, let me close that. A Tengu is a demon from Japanese mythology. Has a 1,300-year-old origin. According to folklore, Tengu was known for his large nose, a strange tiny hat, inciting wars among the local population, and kidnapping children from villages at night. Nothing of interest here, now move along. Holy shit. Wow. Well, don't be anti-Tenguist, I guess. Wow. I can't even make a conjecture about that. Let's see. From Taroi Nagaki. My children are Muslim. I don't let them celebrate Japanese festivals, says this man. Instead, I keep them home from school. Japan has no Islam. Japan should become a more multicultural country. Go back to your own country and do that. No one will complain. Yeah. Why would you move? Actually, I think I said this. One is forced to ask oneself why. With so many Muslim countries in the world, these people choose to enter an alien culture without any intention of assimilation. Why? Why would you do it if it's not an attempt to take over? If it's not an attempt to get your foot in the door so that you can just sell them the bullshit. Like a cheesy vacuum cleaner salesman. Yeah. It's this one. Japan is no Islam, no Sharia, no halal, no mosque. Based. Basaru. I don't think that's right. Hang on. Let me check that translation again. Japanese. Oops. Besu.
Besu.
Besu. Yep. Based. Okay. I think we're running out of base Japan stories now. Nope. Got 2 or 3 more. So, from Haruka Awake. Sorry for rolling the R. I just do it naturally now whenever I'm using a foreign language. Japan is planning to give 400 million yen taxpayer money to Zimbabwe for rice farming. They have rice shortages at home. There's not enough rice in Japan, so we're going to pay the Zimbabwe people to grow it for themselves. Also, Zimbabwe failed because of the policies they pushed. We don't owe them anything that caused their own problems. Yep. And I was forced to ask, what do you get when you give foreign aid to 3 million starving Africans? You get 10 million starving Africans. Apparently, because that appears to be how it works. Rally the people of Japan to cut any aid going out of the country to dumb nations that just squander it. They made their own shithole, let them stew in it. Yeah, they don't know when to stop. What copper? Forgot the part about getting copper in return. What copper? This is a grant, which is $400 million free equipment for rice research station. Jesus Christ. The Japanese are paying the Africans to research rice. There are so many bigoted jokes I could make there, but I'll restrain myself this time. From Ankoro Mochu. I don't want Japan to become a multi-ethnic nation because that would make it no longer Japan. And the simple answer to that, which is absolutely true, is that that is absolutely correct. If you take, and we won't use the adding piss to water analogy, if you take a box of blueberries and you keep adding strawberries, eventually, well, the moment you add one strawberry, you no longer have a box of blueberries. You have blueberries with a strawberry. You keep adding strawberries and taking blueberries out, or, the blueberries get crushed to the bottom under the weight of the strawberries. Eventually, what you have left is a box of strawberries. Or something. At one point, you have something that is neither blueberry nor strawberry. I Say Bad Things says, I'm American and I love Japan. I see beautiful houses that are very affordable there in beautiful areas too. But instead it feels like seeing a beautiful backyard of your neighbor. You wish it could be yours, but a visit is all that is necessary. You might very well be American with that bad English. But I'm going to check anyway. Okay. They do appear to be American. Okay, moving on. I got two more. From Alpha Wolf, which technically this one doesn't, well, he isn't in Japan, but it'll work. The people of Japan have taken to the streets. They are protesting against uncontrolled immigration and chanting slogans. We must protect our country. We must make Japan great again. Japan is now saying it loud and clear. We will not make that suicidal mistake. They have seen Europe's mistake, what uncontrolled immigration did there. Rape increased, culture changed, local people becoming a minority, and peace being lost forever. Yeah. And you can hear that this guy has been screaming for a while. Something I absolutely have to point out. The Japanese people know how to protest. Yeah, they're loud. Yeah, they're waving flags. Is there anybody slowing down anybody else? I'm willing to bet if you were walking, you could walk directly through the middle of that group and people would get out of your way for you. Because, hey, that's what standards of courtesy and good behavior do. I don't think I had a reply to this one. By Niels says, maybe they have smarter politicians than we have here. You'd like to think that, wouldn't you? Yeah, not so much. Okay, and our last story for Base Japan today is also from Kumashun. It's about time we made this clear. The Japanese government, politicians, and bureaucratic officials are, almost all of them, and it's a shame that I have to say this about the West as well, enemies of the people. They raise taxes when we want them lowered. They evade taxes while we pay ours. They commit crimes and never get caught. They destroy the environment when we want it protected. They favor foreigners over Japanese people, and the media are their lying cronies. While I hate to see this, as it is such a mirror for what's happening in the West, I am also heartened by it because it tells us all that our cultures are under attack everywhere. This makes it a lot easier to figure out what the motivation is. Clearly, it's about new serf classes in our countries. And I finished with the hashtag slaves or food. The country is an evil organization, and it's tough. Why do I have to live in a country like this? You don't. You could move, or you could fight to fix it. I'd recommend the latter, while you still have an opportunity. Let's see, what else have we got for comments on this one before I change subjects again? Or segments again, I should say. From a scapegoat, because you caught my attention. I think there are definitely a certain number of traitors to the country, but how about up to that point? Isn't it ultimately the influence of our suzerain state, the esteemed America? No. See, here's the thing. This shit isn't happening in America the same way. Yeah, you have an influx of foreigners, but you guys are so far behind in the process because of the way your system is set up that you've got a good generation worth of time before you're swamped the way Europe and Canada is. What you are seeing right now in the States is the influx of the generation that will breed the generation that outvotes your traditional culture. Thought I heard somebody in the house, and I'm home alone, so it'd be an issue. Then there are the shareholders. They're afraid of retaliation if they make any rash moves, after all. Yeah, Didger says, America isn't corrupting Japan, girly. Communism is. Yeah, and you could throw the blanket term of Marxism over that even more effectively. Okay, I am going to step away again for a moment, but I'll end my recorded segment here. If you like what I do, please do throw me a few bucks on Ko-Fi. Like, share, comment, chat. Depending on what platform you're using, subscribe or follow. If you would like to throw me money, I'd rather you didn't do it through Rumble, which takes a whack of a cut out of it, but through Ko-Fi instead. The link has been going by. If you choose to fund me regularly on Ko-Fi, you have the option to have your name in the ticker alongside Zenrab7, Sede Sapientiae, and Simon JJ. Ditcher's doing the interlude thing again. Thank you very much. And I will shortly be back. This is part of the live section. This segment is going to be cut out of the live section. If you're watching this on YouTube, I actually do a live show on Rumble, and I post about it to YouTube. So subscribe, get my posts, come over to Rumble and actually watch me live. Other than that, I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to do well. And as always, rise and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.